Hello, friends. In an earlier story, we learned that this part of the world here in Pekin, Illinois, is part of the area called the Great Prairie. We're working on restoring the Great Prairie in our part of the world. If you've ever gone to Wildlife Prairie Park, there they have a lot of the plants and animals that originally lived in this part of the world because of the habitat of the prairie. Prairie is another name for grassland or savanna. We have been planting a pocket of prairie here in our storybook garden because when we plant a pocket of prairie, it provides habitat for our pollinator pals that are so important to the health and wellness of our Mother Earth and all life on our planet. Butterflies especially need special plants to lay their eggs and to raise their young. The caterpillars eat the leaves of certain plants, and then they need other flowering plants for when they're adult butterflies. So we're going to learn about different plants that are important for different species of butterflies. Butterflies are a beautiful part of our world and are pollinators too. They have different plants that they have partnerships with. One of the important plants we plant around in our little pocket of prairie is milkweed. Its Latin name is Asclepias, but it's the only plant that monarch butterfly larvae, or what we call caterpillars, have to eat. They have to have that special plant. No milkweed, no monarchs. And monarch butterflies are in extreme danger in our world because of lack of habitat, climate change, so many things, different chemicals people use, herbicides and pesticides. We all need to come together to help our monarch butterflies have flowers, to find food, nectar, and we also need those host plants for their caterpillars to eat, to get big enough to transform into beautiful butterflies. We're going to learn a lot about monarch butterflies this year because they're such an important part of our shared history, an important part of celebrations for different groups of people in our country. I have special stories I will share later about that. But today, let's take a little time to learn how easy it is to plant a pocket of prairie, whether it's in a pot in your backyard or a part of your garden or just, in parks in town. We can all help our butterflies to have a happy home, to raise their young. Here we see that milkweed. This is one kind of milkweed. There are many different types of milkweed that have adapted for different growing conditions. So let's plant a pocket of prairie. Once prairie stretched for thousands of miles, an ocean of flowers and grasses, a sea of sky, home for bison and elk, prairie chickens, burrowing owls, five-line skinks, plains garter snakes, and auto skipper butterflies. Almost all gone now to farm and town and city, even before we knew all of the things a prairie could do. But if you want to see what a prairie might be, plant a pocket of prairie in your backyard or boulevard or boxes on a balcony. If you plant a pocket of prairie, who might come? Plant foxglove, beard's tongue, a ruby-throated hummingbird might hover and sip and thrum. If that hummingbird sips and zips looking for something more to eat, plant butterfly weed. Monarch butterflies might lay their eggs on the underside of leaves. This is a kind of milkweed. And when those monarch eggs hatch and the larvae turn into hungry butterflies, plant rough blazing star. Great spangled fritillaries might show up too. If monarchs and fritillaries aren't enough for you, plant asters. Silvery checker spot butterflies might lay their eggs on the leaves. Sometimes plants are both host and nectar plants for different kinds of butterflies. Your pocket of prairie might be full of blooming and buzzing and fluttering, but don't stop now. Plant purple coneflowers and Joe Pye weed, and wait for Dakota skippers and swallowtails to flit and feed. While you're waiting, plant goldenrod. A Great Plains toad might flick its tongue at goldenrod soldier beetles. Not enough prairie for you yet? See, here is the beetle. The toad will eat the beetle. They have a predator-prey relationship. Plant cup plants. A thirsty chickadee might come to drink from a tiny leaf pool. When the leaves are forming, they create a little area where water can collect, like a little watering pool for the birds to sip from. Frogs too. Plant big bluestem and Indian grass. Grasshoppers might eat the grass before grasshopper might eat the grasshoppers. More prairie still. So here we have the grasses, which are food for the mice, but also the insects. The insects eat the grasses, but the mice also eat the insects. They help to keep it in balance. They have that predator-prey relationship. Plant sunflowers and goldfinches might dine upside down. They love to eat those seeds. Ooh, plant bottle gentian. A bumblebee might battle inside, leaving only its bumblebee bottom sticking out. If your pocket of prairie grows big enough, plant prairie milkweed and hairy mountain mint and breathe sweet air. So here's that other kind of milkweed and these giant pods full of milkweed seeds. A dickcissel might build a nest and lay 4 pale blue eggs. A prairie skink might guard her eggs beneath a rock. So in this small area of prairie, we have flowers for bees and butterflies, and the birds will lay their eggs on the ground and eat the seeds, while underground we have that little lizard with its eggs underground. In the prairie, many animals make their homes underground. A meadowlark might fly calling chee 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 cheer, chee 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 cheer. If your pocket of prairie grows bigger still, who else might come? Who knows? Who's this? We have our bison, or what we call buffalo. And the bison eat the grasses, and of course their droppings contain the seeds to plant more grasses next spring. And as they go through the prairie, they knock seeds to the ground, and when they poop on the ground, it fertilizes it so the plants grow better. These big prairie plants have gigantic root systems that help to hold that precious soil in place. So every animal in the prairie contributes and is connected to every other part. It's a very important habitat. If you plant a pocket of prairie, and I plant a pocket of prairie, and everyone we know plants a pocket of prairie, and everyone they know plants a pocket of prairie, one day we might look out and see the prairie coming home. Wouldn't that be wonderful? So a prairie is a grassland. We also call that a savanna. There are grasslands all over the world, and they're different. They have different plants and animals that have adapted to the growing conditions and the weather where that grassland is located. If we go to Africa, they have a big savanna there, but it has much different animals and weather patterns and heat, lots of migration because of the periods of drought and rain. So lots of changes, but their savanna is a grassland too. It's really fun to learn about the variety of life and how life has adapted to those growing conditions all around the world. We're going to go on travels around the world this year and learn about the food, the people, the animals, the plants, and see how we're all connected no matter where we live on Earth. Each part is interconnected and interdependent. We need each special part on our planet for Mother Earth to be healthy and whole. So let's work together to learn as much as we can about our beautiful Mother Earth and to find ways that we can make a difference, whether it's planting flowers to help our pollinators, whether it's having a worm farm to help to create new rich soil, whether it's sharing good ideas with family and friends about how to care for our planet, whether it's learning to use our special gifts and talents to make a difference. We're going to learn this year how to be superheroes for Mother Earth and use our special gifts and talents and knowledge to help heal our beautiful Mother Earth. She's counting on all of you to make a difference. Thank you for being her special helpers.